Okay, I think we're good. Let me, y'all, excuse me. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. This is the guy I have a wheelchair.
Gary, last week it was quiet as a mouse,
Was that him? Was that
but
him
now
here?
you're part of us, so
I don't know, that's me. I was downstairs.
Was he?
No, he was
Okay,
down.
well, he'll probably come get later.
Is it outside or what?
It's inside the pool area there. I don't want to leave it out. It's a $250 wheelchair. So, uh, good use for somebody. Okay, y'all. I am working on a process. Boy, this is really weird. I got two ears things going here. Let me take this one out right now. That's a little bit better. Can everybody hear me okay?
yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. I had a bandwidth problem this afternoon, trying to get both the computers. I don't know what's going on. I really don't. Thanks, Xfinity. So anyway, I have some news. I'm working on something, and only my wife knows I've been working on it. But I am going to do an hour, maybe two, maybe longer. I'm not sure. Summary for people. It's an introduction to the Urantia book. Okay. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to take my time and I'm going to start with where the Urantia book came from, some background on it, that sort of thing. I'm rereading the book on the origins of the Urantia book by Larry Mullins. If y'all haven't read that, you need to read it for sure. It's a wonderful book. Yeah. But it's about the origins of the Urantia book. And then I'm going to go into different sections of the book and do short synopsises all the way through on important things like the Midwayers, Caligastia, Adam and Eve, Melchizedek, all the way up to Jesus. I've done the Jesus, who, what, when, and where, so I don't feel like I need to go over the Jesus papers at all. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just do an introduction to the book for people. You know, it's the hardest thing to do when you start to talk to people about the book is introduce it, right? Because everybody asks you the same questions over where'd it come from, right? And that sort of thing.
Wrote it.
Right? Who wrote it? Where'd it come from? You know? So what I'm doing, I'm working on this. It may take me several weeks to get it all together to the point where I'm going to record it. I'm going to have a few slides, not very many. It's not going to be something extensive in slides other than just pointing out things. Okay. And I'm going to leave it open to y'all when I start to record this. If y'all would like to come and listen to it, you're welcome to. Okay. But it's not going to be like a meeting anywhere close. It's going to be mostly me and the slides. And occasionally, if someone has a question, I would really not mind if someone peeped in and asked the questions, because that's what people who want to learn, you know, about the book do, right? And y'all have experienced this many, many times. So who better than our group to say, well, Roger, what about this? If I forget something, especially, I'm going to try not to forget, but it's just going to be a basic introduction to the book to help ease the problem of trying to explain to folks what the book is, where it came from, what it's about, and then its importance to you individually. Why should I read it? You know, because people do the same thing I did. Even people I'm reading about in the history of the Urantia book, you know, very good scholars of it did the same thing I did. They looked at it, they said, what is this? You know, and pretty much closed it and went on, right? And you have to be challenged at least one other time for it to come to your mind, well, maybe I ought to look at this type thing. Yeah, Pam. Pam, you're muted.
And you're frozen.
She's frozen.
She's frozen.
Are we going to be able to participate, Roger, and ask questions or just listen?
Yes, well, it's going to be, Pam, did you hear me? We couldn't hear you.
You're muted.
You're muted, Pam. Turn your mic on.
She's frozen too.
And you're frozen.
Hello? Pam,
There you
You're
go.
turn your mic on, dear. She can't hear me, I don't think.
We can't hear you.
Well, I don't know what's going on. So anyway, yeah, that's the whole point of this, Tim. And let me know when you get that $1 million. I want my cut.
You
Yeah,
got it.
same here.
I thought that'd make you smile and
$1 million.
lighten you up a little bit out of a rough day today.
Yeah, it's been a rough few weeks.
Mhm.
So yeah, you'll be able to stop and ask questions. I don't want to make the whole thing questions because we're doing this for new readers. People have
Correct.
never heard of the book, people that have heard of it but know nothing about it, that sort of thing. And I'm going to do it as a live production type thing. So soon as it's done, it's going out on YouTube. Okay. To let y'all know. So if there's any mistakes or you say something really stupid during it, it's going to be out there for eternity. Just to
How
let
long
you
will the
know.
class? How long will the classes be?
I don't know. I
Okay.
really don't. My
So-
original thought was maybe a couple hours, as just an introduction. But if it takes me longer than that to get through the information, then we'll do, a couple more hours. I'm going to start out with a 2-hour thing. That's what I'm going to do. And I think I'm going to do it like on a Sunday afternoon where nobody's rushed and I can just keep talking for a couple hours and hopefully we'll get it done in one session. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, the
But
Sunday
if we-
afternoons would be perfect.
Yeah, well, Sunday, I was thinking maybe like 2 o'clock in the afternoon or something like that. And spend till 4 or, a couple hours. And that way, people that have no introduction to the book, or if you know somebody you want to tell about the book and you don't feel comfortable explaining it to them, you can, now we got Pam. I think her mic's back on. Can you hear us, Pam?
No, she's frozen.
No, she's frozen. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, that's the plan.
I'm so
on
sorry.
this. And
I don't know what's going on with my connectivity.
I had the same problem today, Pam. My internet connections on my main computer I normally do these meetings on, it's out to lunch. I don't know what happened to it. So maybe it may be something in the internet itself. So does this sound like a good plan?
I'm
to
so sorry.
everyone?
Yes.
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 Yeah, we need a
Okay,
great
that way-
introduction.
Yeah, well, that's what I figured. And what brought this on is I've had so much time sitting at home at nights, not being able to sleep because of this pain.
Hmm.
I felt like God spoke to me in the middle of the night and said, why don't you do something useful?
Roger, I
So
sure hope you feel better.
About
You know,
time.
it's about time.
sure-
Yeah,
yeah.
do something useful. Yeah, right.
I hope you feel better,
So-
Roger.
I do too. So anyway, this gives me an opportunity to work on this while I'm sitting around. I can't do anything. I might as well make my unproductive time productive, right? And so while I'm sitting here and I can't do anything else, I can study and get and prepare for this. And I hope it'll be a real nice introduction for everyone. So that's the plan right now. I just wanted to let y'all know. I'll let you know when I get to the point where I'm ready to present it. It might be a couple of weeks. I don't know, but however long it is, it's just gonna be however long it is. Okay, I'm not going to rush through it or anything like that. I thought since we already did the Jesus, who, what, when, and where, that ended up 14, 16 things. I don't want it to make it that long, but I do want to make it thorough enough that someone that's never heard of the book can listen to it and say, this might be something I'd like to listen to, or watch or read. So that's that's the plan, and that's what I'm going to do at this point. Okay, so let's get started for tonight. We're on paper 45, section 6, paragraph 4. Let's say a quick prayer and we'll get started. Father, thank you for this beautiful, beautiful day we had today. Thank you for the opportunity to serve you in this way. We thank you for these people that come and listen, all those on Facebook and YouTube, Vimeo, and all the other formats. We thank you for the opportunity to make your word known to them. And I feel this is more your word than anything else ever has been. And we want to wish those who go out and listen to it that it benefits their life, they can share it with others, and it'll prepare them for the worlds to come, the mansion worlds to come. So we thank you. We give you the praise in your son, Michael, Jesus of Nazareth. Amen. And
Amen.
whatever universe, Mother Spirit.
You know, Gary read this paragraph. I remember because he left out the word midwear. He said, no surviving mortal or seraphim.
I
That's
can't.
right,
remember
he
that.
did.
hmm
That's a good call.
And I said, Gary, you left out the word midwear. What happened?
Hmm.
And I remember that, Tim,
hmm
and my psychiatrist remembers it.
Yes, and your dog
Gil will be
too.
sending you my bill. No, I'm just, matter of fact, I mean to shut up, okay? Because after
Wait a minute. Wait a
Roger
minute,
told me
Gary,
about
didn't you?
this, he told me about this there, after Roger told us about if we make a mistake and say something stupid, that'll be on Facebook forever. And
Mhm.
I said to myself, I better learn to shut up. So I still got to practice it.
I will pass you the bill back, Gary. Here you go.
Well, well, Gary, to defend you, I think you were midway between thoughts when that happened.
Good one.
Yeah. You
All
may
right.
say, then you may say I'm a midwayer.
That's right. Okay. We thank you, Midwayers. Boy, I tell you what, when I was studying the origins of the Urantia book this week, reading it, you realize how necessary both the primary and secondary midwayers were to bringing this book into pass. So I'm just grateful that they're here on this planet, period. Any way you look at it. So
You know, Roger,
let's move on. Yeah.
I introduced a man to the book who rejected it and was asking me about it. I was telling him about how it came about, and he did some internet research, and he told me I was all wrong because the University of Chicago dreamed it all up.
Oh, they did. No, yeah. No, I know where that came
That's
from,
the
and
truth.
it's false. Yeah,
Huh?
I know that whole thing is false. That was part of Vern Grimley's what's his Grimley's group that were trying to take over the foundation
Family of
back in
God.
1941. Huh? The Family of God. That's
Family
right.
of God.
That was
Venom Grimsley.
Vernon Grimsley. That's right. Now they tried to take over the foundation. He wanted the Urantia book so he could make a movie on it and make money on it. So he went head to heads with William Sadler because William Sadler did not believe in mediums of any time, spiritualists. And that's what Vern Grimsley claimed to be. He said he claimed that he could talk to the dead and that he was reincarnated and all these things that have been proven wrong through the Urantia books. So they went head to head. And it was a big scandal at the foundation. So that's where that crap came from.
He
There's
believed that he
also a
was
Baptist
receiving
preacher
messages.
that went out there. Yeah, well, there was also a Baptist preacher that went out and tried to do the same thing. And then there was also Christie, after all the communication had been shut down by the Midwayers, Christie started saying that she was getting messages from the Midwayers, and nobody believed that's true either. So, well, there was a group that believed it, but most people didn't.
And she was the actual
getting
individual
elderly.
who was actually recording what the sleeping subject was saying, and she was writing it.
Well,
She was
the
there.
stenographer, but she didn't write everything down. They said, this is that's why I'm saying you need to read this book, because that's
Right.
what I thought for years. I thought that same thing, and it proves not to be the case. So the actual Midwayers would not let them write everything down. Okay, because they spent 20 years training the Contact Commission, which was Sadler, Lena Sadler, William Sadler, Wilfred Kellogg and his wife, and then later on Sadler Jr. and Christie later on too. They came into the picture later on, but in the beginning it was the two couples, four of them, and it says in this introduction that they spent 20 years, get this now, think about this, 20 years preparing them before they gave them the first paper.
Oh,
That's a long time, y'all.
yeah,
That's
that-
twice as long as I've been teaching this book. Think about that. So they spent twice as long as I've been teaching this book, and I've been through this book twice, almost 3 times, teaching it. Now, think about that. 20 years of preparation just to begin to get the revelation. That's a long time.
I remember
The first
reading.
paper of the book, was not read to the forum until I think it was January 13th, 1929. So the forum didn't know anything about the book till 29. Okay. After that, between the forum and the 70, they went through the book 3 times, and the first 2 times the midwayers made corrections in the book. So before it was published, it had been read and proofread and everything else, and the midwayers knew exactly the reactions of human beings, what they were going to see, because there was a wide range of people listening to this book. There was over 490 something people in the group of the forum and the 70 over a period of 55 years. That's a lot of people. So there's a lot of turnover. Very few people stayed with the whole process, except people like Mills and all the greats that added to the book. Did the indexing and that sort of thing. So that's the sort of thing I want to go over when we go over this. But the fact is, it took a lot of preparation any way you look at it. So Gary, when you say that someone rejected you cold down, happened to me many times over the years. I don't worry about it.
Well, I didn't
They're
either.
ready.
He and I
they-
are still, matter of fact, we're very close friends. Okay.
yeah.
But I was amazed that he Chicago University. I get that. Yeah,
No.
I
no,
almost
it had
lost
nothing
my
to do with it.
religion.
yeah.
Yes.
Did you say, Roger, that most people have given up on the
I
Urantia
don't
book?
understand how anyone
No.
can conceive.
Go ahead.
We lost Pam again there. She's froze on us.
Mhm.
Anyone can conceive of
I mean,
trying to say they
it's
wrote the book?
unconceivable. I'm sorry, I have a bad connection.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, because I've studied it so much of my life, 50 years of my life has been dedicated to studying this book. That's a long time, y'all. Think about it, 50 years. So
Anyone could,
I can't imagine the universe being anything other than what it says it is. Okay. So it's kind of like Jim Mills said, I think it was Jim Mills said, if it wasn't really true, it ought to be, it really should be. So there's been a lot of people that read this book over the years, a lot smarter than me. I tell you what, y'all don't realize William Sadler, I don't know how, I think it was 42 books before he got the revelation that he had written himself. He was a psychiatrist that studied with Freud. He was considered the father of psychiatry in the United States. Did y'all know that? William
No.
Sadler, the father of psychology and psychiatry in the United States. So he was a very well-educated man, multiple positions in universities and schools and stuff, and an
An
ordained
MD.
minister.
Mhm.
Yeah, his wife was an ordained minister, and
Lena.
I believe Lena, yeah, and Kellogg, I believe, was an ordained minister too. I think it was the Church of Christ. And anyway, these weren't stupid people. I mean, you're not going to pull the wool over William Sadler's eyes. That's just for sure.
And I just
And-
wanted to say thank you to Lena, because had it not been for her, we would not have a Urantia book, because William was
No.
very curious and somewhat suspicious. Not to mention, it took him 30 years just to believe it.
Yeah, it
But
was in
Lena
the
kept
early
Lena kept
30s.
pushing him.
Yeah. Well,
is something
actually, the
special.
original forum was put together by Lena, not by Sadler.
Correct.
Okay. Sadler was a guest at Lena's forum. And when he started talking about the information of the book, it never
was a
went back
skeptic.
to anything. Yeah, it never went back to anything else.
He used to
So by
study
the
with
time he
you.
became,
Mhm. I was just going to say
by the
him and
time
Hugh. Go ahead, Roger. I'm sorry.
by the time he accepted all of it, the book was pretty much all revealed, even though he had been in the process of the whole thing. So it's kind of interesting how it all worked out, you know, but
And I just wanted. Mhm.
a good
Yeah.
doctor would do that anyway, because he's a psychiatrist. He knew all the mechanisms of the human mind and how it worked, that sort of thing. So, there's a lot better people, smarter people than me that started this process, so anyway, let's go on. Here we are 25 minutes in, we haven't got a single thing.
Tim had something to say.
Huh?
No, I was just going to say that. Yeah, him and Houdini used to go out and bust psychics.
Yeah, that's
Back
right.
in
Well, it was
Europe.
actually
Mhm.
Thurston.
Yep.
It was actually Thurston. Houdini was a friend of Thurston. And it was actually him and Thurston that went out to bust the psychics, not Houdini. Houdini did it with Thurston more than anybody else, but Sadler did it with Thurston as well. So because he was a magician, he knew all the tricks. So
Right.
anyway, so that's another story. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Sweetie, would you take the first paragraph?
Okay.
The ascending midway creatures and the evolutionary seraphim must pass through the parenthood experience in association with the material sons and daughters of the system headquarters. Thus do such non-reproducing ascenders obtain the experience of parenthood by assisting the Jerusalem Adams and Eves in rearing and training their progeny.
Okay, so even the seraphim themselves have to go through this parental training, just like we do. When I talked about we have to learn, we have to raise at least 3 children. Well, this is part of the process. Okay, even the seraphim themselves have to go through the same process with the material sons of daughters, so they can gain experience of parenthood just like we do. Okay, so that's how important it is to become a parent, right? It's
So you have to
apparently important to become a parent.
Change diapers.
Apparently.
Good stuff.
Apparently. Okay, let's go on to the next one. All right. This is strange. Oh, there it is. I've got so many screens that are not my normal screens tonight. I'm lost here. Rodney, would you take the next one?
Yes, and I would like to say, you're not jittery tonight. You're coming in very clear and consistent.
Well, that's good. Maybe I ought to switch to this, back to this computer. See, this is my Windows-based computer again. It's not the Mac for some reason. I was doing so well with the Mac for so long, and all of a sudden tonight it went out haywire. So,
Strange.
yeah.
Okay, this probation nursery of Satania is maintained.
No, you skipped that paragraph.
Oh, did I?
Yes, you
Okay,
did. All
thanks.
mortal survivors.
Okay, let me try to go back here. All mortal survive. Is that it, Jane?
Yes,
Oh,
Thank you,
okay.
Jim.
you're welcome.
All mortal survivors who have not experienced parenthood on the evolutionary worlds must also obtain this necessary training while sojourning in the homes of the Jerusalem material sons as parental associates of these superb fathers and mothers. This is true except insofar as such mortals have been able to compensate their deficiencies on the system nursery located on the first transitional culture world of Jerusalem.
Okay, and he did say sojourning, not sojourning, right?
Yeah.
Kind of sounded like sojourning. All right. So we've talked about this before, that you can make up some of your deficiencies of not being a parent on the nurseries. Remember when we talked about this? These are the children that either died before their age of decision, or for instance, probably embryo or aborted babies, things like that. These babies that their parents chose not to raise, people like me that never had any children are allowed to go in and raise these children as their own, so they can get that experience on that first transitional world, the Jerusalem transition world, the nurseries they're called, right? So most of your experience can be gotten there, but they may still assign you to Adam and Eve on the system capital to make up any things that you didn't learn during that period of time. Because you have to remember, when we get to the mansion worlds, we have a very busy schedule. We're going to be learning like crazy. Okay, so you can only go to the nursery worlds as a parent 4 times a year. So that doesn't give you a lot of time with a child to influence that child, you know. So that's why some of your stuff can be made up there, but you're going to have to spend some time with children where it's a longer period of time, and that's probably going to be on the Adam and Eve, on Jerusalem with the Adam and Eve children, okay? Because it's just not enough time. The reason being, we're going to be so busy in classes, learning things like that, making up deficiencies in our celestial makeup about the cosmos, who we are, where we are, what's going on in the worlds around us, right? So it's a total learning experience. Okay.
Rod,
Yeah.
the offspring of Adam and Eve are Adam and Eve, correct?
Right. The offspring, well, I say that, Rodney, they're not all Adam and Eve's, though. The offspring of their children are called material sons and daughters. They're assigned to other things other than being Adam and Eve's. They have to volunteer to become Adam and Eve's on planets. Okay, because there's just so many planets that they could be assigned to, right? And Adam and Eve's are on every single system. Okay. Yeah, Gary.
So when they came to Earth and had sex, their children was called material sons.
No, they weren't.
Because
They were called
that's where I'm
humans.
getting a little bit confused here.
Okay, Gary, they're only called material sons and daughters on Jerusalem, where they were originated from. So Adam and Eve had several hundred children before they came to Earth. Okay, these were material sons and daughters. Okay, when they came to Earth, their job was to have more children, and those children would become the violet race, but they're human, totally human. But they're considered the violet race because they're the race of the blood mixture of Adam and Eve to upstep the DNA of the planet. Okay, but they're still human.
Would they be considered superhuman?
They'd be considered superhuman, especially, let me give you a perfect example of that. Adam's son and Rada. Remember the story of Adam's son and Rada? Adam's son was one of the sons of Adam and Eve. Rada was the daughter of one of the Nodites. She was the last descendant daughter, pureblood daughter of one of the Nodites. We know the Nodites were the Calagasta 100 that rebelled. Okay, so the Nodites started having children with human beings. Okay, and their descendants, one of their descendants ended up being Rada. She was the last pureblood Nodite descendant. And when she met Adam's son, she decided that she wanted her progeny to be from Adam's son, because she had the history of all the way back to the rebellion and where the Nodites came from, them being selected for the Calagasta 100. She had all that history. So she wanted her children to be pure blood, violet race children. And that's where the pure blood, violet race children came from, was Adam's son and Rada. Okay. Now, who else came from Adam's son and Rada? We know this. Secondary what? Midwayers. That's right. Every fourth child they had were invisible, secondary midwayers. Okay, so every fourth child they had created the 2,000 secondary midwares that were created. Okay, and 1,111 of them stayed loyal. The others rebelled. When the at Pentecost, when Jesus came out and poured out the Spirit of truth, those 800 and something secondary midwares that rebelled were taken off in chains with the primary 40,000 midwares that rebelled. Okay, so there are no secondary midwares that rebelled still on the planet, and there are no primary midwares still on the planet that rebelled. Okay, so you can go to sleep tonight knowing no midway are going to appear at the end of your bed and go, yeah, not going to happen.
No
So
devil.
it will be a certified alien.
It'll be a certified alien if that happens, or somebody stupid like me, that wants to scare you. I wouldn't do that though.
Can I say
All
something to
right.
Gary?
No, of
Yeah, go
course
ahead.
not.
Gary, I would have told that man dreams do come true, and you're going to hell if you don't believe it.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
because
Boy,
I
I'll tell
know
you
there's
what.
no hell.
Yeah, I know, but he
I-
doesn't know
I
that.
had a dream last night. I could give y'all the funniest thing you ever had, but I can't because I can't say it online.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Tell it
So-
later.
yeah, we'll leave that because it's not exactly proper. Okay,
Mm.
let's keep moving. Let's see here. Who's up? Rodney, did you just read?
I did.
Yes, you did. Gary, you're up.
Oh, okay. The probation nursery of Satania is maintained by certain Urantia personalities on the finalities world, one half of the planet being devoted to this work of children rearing. Here are receiving and reassembling certain children of surviving mortals, such as those offspring who perished on the evolutionary worlds before acquiring spiritual status as individuals. The ascension of either of this natural parents ensures that such a mortal child on the realms will be accorded repersonalization on the system on outer planet, and there be permitted to demonstrate by subsequent free will choice whether or not it elects to follow the parental path of mortal ascension. Children here appear as on the native world, except for the absence of sex differentiation. Can't say it, but they're different. There is no reproduction of mortal kind after life experience on the inhabited world.
Okay, 3 points here. All right. Notice here it says that those offspring who perish on the evolutionary world before acquiring spiritual status as individuals. What makes you acquire spiritual status as individuals?
Moral decision midway.
Yeah, once you
Moral decision
your soul
The-
is
Thought
created,
adjustment.
and that comes the thought adjuster. You got it, James.
That's it.
That's when you become a spiritual status individual, regardless of your age, when the thought adjuster comes. Okay. You still have to make a free will choice at some point to follow the will of God, don't you? Okay. So it's not just getting the adjuster. You become a spiritual status with the adjuster, but you do not come guaranteed survival until when you make
You merge.
that choice to survive, right? Belief in God. Okay. Notice here it also says that these children are assured being reawakened by either natural parent that survives. So either parent that makes it to the mansion world can go say, I'm here, I want my child to reappear, and they will bring that repersonalization of that child into existence.
What if
Okay.
neither parent survives?
Then you get
That's a
nice
grand,
little guys like me come along and say, I do it,
yeah,
you know, right?
right.
Or people like you who have only had one child or two child, and you need your second or third child for certification, right? You may go there and say, I need another child because I haven't had all three of my children certification. Now Gary's going to loan me some of his.
Yeah,
I only have one natural and two adopted. That's all my,
Well,
that
that's
I
three.
can,
You could give me one. Not joking, Gary.
so I have to, you mean I gave you one and I have to go through all that again, huh?
You have to go all through it again. That's right.
I like you too, you know that?
I'd only do this because I love you, Gary.
I know.
Okay, something else here very interesting. I know I'm going slow through this, but notice here it says that the children appear on the native world except for the absence of sex differentiation. Do you see that?
Mhm.
So that means they have no sex organs. Okay, none. Because it says here, there is no reproduction of mortal kind after the life experience in the inhabited worlds. Now, this is not true for the material sons and daughters, are they? Because
correct.
they're not what? They're not mortal. Okay? Okay. But let me give you a little hint about something because it says this here. When you wake up on the mansion world, do you think you still have sex organs?
No.
No,
No, of course not. You don't need them anymore, right? There's no waste in the universe. Let me put it that way. So it would be a waste if you had them. All right. So that's the way you will be. And even in that book we read that I read last week from Neil talked about. Where's Neil at tonight? Anyway, even in that book it talks about this, how they wake up on the mansion worlds and they don't have any sex organs anymore. So that's the way it really is. Okay. Go on to the next.
So how do they determine whether they're a male or female?
Because the characteristics of male and female are so deep, they have nothing to do with sexual orientation. Okay. How do we know that? You want me to prove my point here? Anybody want a proof of point here?
I
Yeah, go
don't,
ahead.
Okay. Michael was created by God the Father and God the Son.
Yeah.
Right? All the Michaels, 700,000 of them were created by whom? God the Father and God the Son. We have 700,000 local universe mother spirits. Who created the local universe mother spirits?
the infinite spirit.
The infinite spirit.
Infinite spirit. That's correct. Michaels are all what? Male oriented. Every single one of them. There are no female Michaels. Okay. Every single local universe mother spirit is what?
Female oriented.
Female oriented. That's correct. What are all the angels? The whole angelic corps,
Female.
maybe with the exception of Gabriel. What are they?
Female.
Female.
All of them. Every single one of them. There are no male guardian angels, period.
They're all female?
Every single one of them. They're part of the angelic core. The angelic core comes from the infinite spirit through the local universe mother spirit, and the local universe mother spirit's children are all what? Female. Every
Female.
single one of them. Yes.
Oriented.
Oriented female. Right? You still with me? Okay. So the tendency, and all right, let me bring up one more point. Do any of the guardian angels reproduce?
No,
No,
Is it likely they have sexual organs?
no,
no,
So all these stories from the past, when they say that the angels came down and mated with the humans, do you think that's true?
no.
They have no sexual organs. How would they mate with the humans? Okay.
Well, wait a minute. there was some phrase in the book, to my memory, and I gotta remember, I'm old,
15 minutes.
that said that there was a mating of some with humans.
The
And that's
Calabasas
how we got
100.
the
The
8-foot
60 that,
giants with the double rows of
yes, the
teeth.
the 60 that rebelled, there were 50 women, 50 men that were in the Calabasas 100. They all had what? Sexual organs. Okay, every single one of them. So the 60 that rebelled were the ones that mated with the local humans and created the what they call the Nephilim. Actually, the Nephilim were the Calabasas 60 that rebelled. And then their children were the 8-foot giants and stuff because they were already 8 foot. So their children would have a tendency to follow them.
So how did they have sex organs?
Because they were given DNA of the local planet when they came and they were assigned to the planet. The plan was this: when they were brought to the planet, on every single planet, all 700,000 local universes have to have a midway population. How do you think they get the midway population? Through the Calabasas 100 they bring to the new planet. Okay.
That's so.
Because the children of the Calabasas 100 created the 50,000 midwayers. Not the children. The originals of the Calabasas 100 created the 50,000 midwayers. You with me still? Am I confusing
Yeah.
everybody? So they
That's where
had sexual reproduction capabilities because they were brought back and made human again, right? Or a type of human. They were superhuman, but they still had human tendencies, which made it even worse as they left their thought adjusters on Jerusalem. So when they came back to this planet and was here for several 100,000 years, they had no guidance from their thought adjusters. So anything they chose to do was their own free will. It wasn't the will of God.
They didn't have a Jiminy Cricket saying, "You're doing wrong."
That's right. They were supposed to know better. They went through the 7 mansion worlds. They were supposed to have been free of the mark of the beast, correct? Because they were Jerusalem citizens. If they made it to Jerusalem, they were free of all the tendency of bestiality. So when they came back to the planet, they should have been free of that, unlearned all that during the process of the mansion world. That's part of the process of the mansion worlds. See how all this makes sense once you know the story?
So
Makes
we
perfect sense.
corrupted the people that were supposed to uplift us. So
No, that
we
people that were supposed to uplift us corrupted us.
Mm.
Because the Calabasas 100 were to uplift us. Same
Yeah.
thing with
Hey,
Adam and
Roger?
Eve. They were here to uplift stuff. Yep, Pam.
So why was the thought adjuster not brought down with them? How did they not have one?
Pam, I do not know. I
Oh.
truly do not know. I have asked myself this question over and over for 50 years. Why
Okay.
didn't they just let them bring their thought adjuster back? I don't know. They were all left on Jerusalem. We know this
Wow.
because in the book it tells us the 60 that rebelled were taken away and changed, and their thought adjusters are still waiting on Jerusalem for them.
Wow.
The
They're
reason they're
patient.
still waiting is they haven't been adjudicated 100% yet.
Yeah.
So they can't be released to go to someone else, to a new person, until their adjudication is finished.
That's amazing.
Yep. It's the book itself, the information in it is so vast. You can see why people get confused when they read it, can't you? Because if you can't put the pieces together, then you think this is a lot of gobbledygook. It doesn't make any sense, right? So you have to be able to put the pieces together. And why do you put pieces together? You get people like me that started out exactly like you, that knew absolutely nothing other than the good old Baptist. If it ain't of the Bible, it must be of the devil, right? Hey, y'all, I preached that, you know? I remember standing up in a pulpit preaching against the Urantia book when I first found out about it because I thought it was of the devil, you know?
For real? You did that?
For real. Yes, for real.
What
I'm
did you
telling We're
say?
all fallible. Huh?
Roger, I gotta say something. I have often wondered how in the heck ministers who are supposed to be knowledgeable in their field
Yeah.
can try to know what they should all about what they're doing and do this for years and not know the shortcomings of what they're saying. I got to
Well,
give you
some
credit.
of them do.
You was open-minded enough to look beyond your nose. But you tell me how a minister, say 40 years, is supposed to be so into God that wants to know everything about God. It's his whole thrust. Doesn't stop to think that the Bible never says Jesus died for our sins. There's no such thing as tithing in the Bible. Okay.
No.
There's other things in the Bible, I can't come to mind, that they preach that is not even in the Bible. What gets
Oh,
me
I
is
know that.
they go around they preach the Jewish 10 commandments as if they're the Christian commandments, and they're not the Christian commandments. And then they'll
I got
even,
two
I've heard
words
it
for you,
say so
Gary.
in the churches that they'll say, and they'll repeat the Jesus's commandments right in the churches and then go straight to the 10 commandments. It drives me nuts. How in the heck can how can you be a decent individual and do that stuff?
I can explain all of it in two words. Guess what they are?
A what?
Power and money. Okay.
That
Think
is
of
a
it this
sad
way.
comment on the Christian church.
It's sad comment on human nature. That's what it is. Because think of it this way. If you're a minister and you stay in school, a ministerial school is not short. You might spend 8 years to become a minister. If you get a 4-year degree and then you stay in a Bible study in a college and that sort of thing, you might get a doctorate. You may end up 12 years. If you spend that much time and money going to school and you get out and you come to the realization that most of the garbage that they taught me in school is incorrect, what are you going to do for a living?
What kind of things did you used to say, Roger?
I faced this myself.
Hmm.
When I was down in Key West, my goal was to become a minister. That was my goal. I was in music ministry. We did revivals and stuff like that, did all sorts of stuff. The thing of it is, when I spend 9 months disproving the Urantia book, and I realized what I was disproving was true, it changed my life forever. I could no longer, in good conscience, be a Baptist minister anymore, right? So it upset the apple cart. I had to find a whole new profession. You think I went into chiropractic and medicine, and I got sports medicine degrees and radiology and all this stuff because I wanted to? I had to make a living, and there weren't any Urantia churches, period. Okay. So when my apple cart got upset, you know what the first thing I did? 1973, I can tell you because I remember like it was yesterday. This has nothing to do with our lesson tonight, but in 1973, I called up to Colorado, to the group in Colorado, because I had heard there was a school there. So my plan was to go up. I said, well, if I'm going to go to school to be a Baptist minister, I can go to school to be a Urantian minister, right? Wrong. Didn't happen. Called up there and they said, well, we don't have a school here. They said, we have a study group. You want to come up and join our study group? And I said, a what? A study group. And I said, where could I find a school? And I said, well, in 1971, they tried to start one up in close to Chicago, and it's in the book I just was reading this week. Didn't go over. They had about 75 students that got to a certain point, and then it shut down. It just shut down. So there was no school to get certified in the Urantia book. Didn't exist. Okay, none.
They have ABCD.
They had an ABCD. You could take courses, and you know, it was a waste of your time, really. Well, so what did I do? I changed my direction, decided to go into the music ministry, came to Atlanta, got a degree in commercial music and recording. What happened the first week I went out to the job? Everybody's sitting around smoking dope, snorting coke, that sort of thing in the studio. And I looked at the guy I worked for at the time and I said, I can't do this. This is not my personality, you know? So I'd spent 2.5 years in a school getting a degree in commercial music and recording on top of what I already had to get a degree I couldn't use. You know, who's going to hire somebody that's a Urantian in commercial music and recording? What? Are you crazy? You know? So what did I do? I had a motorcycle accident. And in the process of having a motorcycle accident, I messed up my back and met a chiropractor that was a real nice guy. And I was in school learning to be a surgeon. I was going to be a surgeon. I decided that's what I was going to do with my life. And I like chiropractic so much, I ended up going into chiropractic instead. But it shows you the direction of people's lives. When you decide you're going to go down this road, it may not be the road you stay on to get to the other end. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't actually start teaching this book. When was it, Rodney? 2011?
Can't remember, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, it was 2011. And I only started teaching the book because the people in the group asked me to do so. Okay. And you know what I kept hearing all the way through this time? The Urantia book needs more teachers. We need teachers. We need to train teachers. There was no way to get teachers trained. Okay. So what did I do? I took the experience I had of the last 40 years studying the book day and night, and time and time again, and certified myself as a teacher. Actually didn't get certified in anything. I'd already been ordained once. So I got ordained again, right? And we started all over again. And that's where we are today. Boy, that was a long story, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that's good.
Yeah,
I ordained him.
But it shows you the direction of your life. Your life may not go the way you think it is. And when we get to the mansion worlds, I guarantee you, your direction in the mansion worlds is not going to go exactly like you think it should go, because you're going to have so many choices and so many options to learn. That's why they have counselors to help you, okay, to choose your pathway, right? And you'll probably have people like me that have been teaching people all their lives. They'll be up there teaching these people that never learned anything in the remedial classes, because I'm sure that the better teachers will be in the more advanced classes, right? Hopefully. Okay. We went around the world tonight again, and I got through three paragraphs again.
that's okay. It was good information.
Okay, I'm going to be 101 and we'll get to the 4th paragraph. And I hope all y'all out there on YouTube, maybe place else, bear with me long enough to get this done, because I do have some good stuff coming in the future. I hope.
You know, Roger actually shouldn't be ashamed or anything, for the simple reason that I think the people on YouTube, etc., may need to know your qualifications. And man, you are qualified. I too have been reading the Urantia book for many years, nothing like you. Okay,
Yeah.
not consistently and that stuff. And I don't know a lot, and I'm ashamed to say it, I don't know enough. But people don't understand to have you with that background and dedication and knowledge and everything, man, it takes a lot of what you do, you do one heck of a lot, and not many people could do it.
Well,
Truly.
thank you. I appreciate that. Well, let
That's
me tell you a
true.
little secret too, y'all. Because of my present illnesses and stuff and what's going on right now, it's allowed me time to study again like I used to when I was preparing my meetings, back when we were all 2011, 2012. And the only reason I can do that is because my wife has taken up the slack. If she didn't do what she does, there's no way I could do what I do, So, and I realize that, I really do. So I can't take the credit for it at all. So anyway. Okay, y'all, we're done for tonight, 7:00. Let's get out of here. Let's say a little prayer and close out for tonight. Let me stop the share first. All right, and say a little prayer and we'll close for tonight. Pam, would you like to close us with a prayer tonight?
Sure. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for your revelation and also for Dr. Roger Paul's guidance. It is immense and of such great value. And I pray that you will give all of us guidance to be able to share with others the little bits and pieces to ignite their spark of seeking. And we ask this in the name of Christ Michael, Jesus of Nazareth. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. And thank you all at home for joining us on all the different platforms. Please come see us again. Stay tuned. We got some good stuff coming soon, I hope. So if I can keep my mouth shut long enough. Okay.
Now tell us about your dream. Oh, we're still being recorded. Okay.
No, I can't record.